Hello, welcome back. Just like we talked about in the last video on gauge charts, we're continuing the series and we're going to talk about how you can go about setting up number charts in your CX dashboard in Qualtrics. Similar to gauge charts, it's a very similar process with very similar things you need to keep in mind. But since it's a very common widget type, I figured I'd make its own dedicated video where we go over setting one up so that you guys can set one up for yourselves. If you do run into any trouble in the future, you have this video as a reference. With that being said, let's hop into the dashboard and take a look. So on your CX dashboard, the place in which you're going to find number charts is here. So you're going to want to go to add widget, number chart over here, add metric, and the number charts are just, let's say, generic counters, or you can call them tickers, that just show a particular numeric value, but doesn't really have any associated like bar chart displays or visualizations or gauge chart display or visualization. It's just a ticker that shows the value of the field you're measuring at that point in time. So in this case, right now the count is 198 responses. So this number chart will just show me the number 198. And won't show me any other associated visualizations attached to that number. And it's really useful if you want an at-a-glance overview of what's going on with the data without any visualizations necessarily complicating that view. So for example, a number chart would be useful in this case if I wanted something like the total count here that I'm showing in the gauge chart along with the average number in the gauge chart. But this number chart would likely be a better widget to just replace this gauge chart count, unless if the count is something I'm documenting or tracking or trying to measure. Like the number chart itself will just show me the total count without any unnecessary visualizations so that I can just see that number and then move on to the rest of the dashboard where I look at the actual metrics that I'm tracking. Now with the number chart, just like with the gauge chart, if you want to add things like an average, for example, and you're going to select a field, you're going to want to make sure that field is either a numeric value or it's a number set in your dashboard data section. So for example, let's say that in this particular scenario, I wanted to get the average for this question in my survey. So in my customer satisfaction survey, I asked how informative someone found the course and gave these 5 options someone could select from and then rated them from 1 to 5. Now I want the average of this. Now if I went back to my dashboard and then tried to pull this into a number chart, I can't find that question 2 because this question. So for example, if I went in here, added the metric as normal, average, and then looked for question 2 as a field, I can't find it here. And as with what we discussed in the gauge chart, this is due to the fact that Q2 in here is coded as a text set instead of either a numeric value or number set. To be able to pull in this information and get the information I'm looking for, what I'll need to do is copy this, add a new field, rename this number, Q2, and then change it to something like a numeric set. Then I map Q2 in from the survey and then click save. Then what will happen is that the dashboard will update with this new field. And then if I head in here, once the dashboard is finished updating here in the top right corner, let me refresh, yep, just pop right in. Once the dashboard is finished updating right here, you'll see a little banner that shows the percent completion. Then, I'm gonna remove this guy. Then in this number chart, I'll be able to go into field here, see a little drop down, and Q2 will pop right in. So right now, it's gonna say this message and give this warning, but that's just due to the fact that the dashboard hasn't completed updating yet. Once it does complete updating, we should see this value pull in as normal. So I'm going to refresh one more time and give it a second, and then we should see this number value pop in. Right, maybe it's acting a little bit finicky, so let me add a quick filter for dataset source, and then refresh one more time. Okay, let's remove this guy. Perfect. And I'm going to add decimal places, and then it pulls in exactly as we expect it to. Now to recap, the way in which you're going to add a number chart to your dashboard is by doing the following. So firstly, number charts are a great way to display a summary of the data without any additional visualizations if you're not tracking the data as a key component or driver that you're interested in viewing. So for example, the gauge chart, this is a key metric I want to track, the overall likelihood someone recommends this course. So this, I might add a visualization to it, but other data that I'm not that interested in, I might use a number chart for that instead. And the way in which you go about adding a number chart to your dashboard is by doing the following. So you go to add widget, number chart, and if it's just a count, you don't need to worry about how that data type is configured. But if you change it to something like average, then you do have to make sure that in your dashboard data section, that field is some type of numeric value, either a number set or a numeric value directly, so you can pull it into the widget and have it calculate the associated field accordingly. Hope that clarifies things. If you guys have any additional questions or concerns or want to go for any other widget types, please feel free to reach out in the comment section below. Always happy to clarify anything or go over anything further. Thank you guys for watching and look forward to see you again soon in the next video. Take care.